Hello, fellow YouTubers, truth seekers, and Mandela affected. I'm Darkwolf, and this is Darkwolf's Den. I'd love to thank everybody for being here today. We really appreciate everyone who stops by. We hope you like what we're doing over here. We just got this brand new den. We hope you like what you see, like what you hear, and if you do, make sure you let us know and come back and check us out some more. Alright, with that said, before we get into our report, I'd like to first take care of some channel business. So, we had a contest a little while back, and what you see here above me is actually the picture of the contest winner for the Darkwolfs Den channel art contest. For those who weren't able to subscribe or to enter the contest, don't worry, there's more. We have another one coming up, but I will announce it as soon as we hit 200 subscribers. So when we get there to 200, the video following that will be announcing the brand new contest to the people that aren't so artistically inclined like myself. And of course everyone else, but I had a lot of people come to me and say, Darkwolf, I want to win the prize, but I can't enter, I can't do art. Well, don't worry, my stick figures look anorexic, so I'm with you, it's okay. We got another contest coming out that's going to be completely different than that. Whole different set of rules. So you guys look forward to that. And we hope you enter it and win the Alta Report prize, which is a $15 value. So now let's get on with our show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Padmanabhaswamy Temple. This is located in India. It is referred to in the only record of the Sangram period of literature, and that was between 500 BC and 300 AD, and it is referred to several times between this time period. Curiously, though, there isn't a single historic reference that mentions the exact date in which it was actually founded, so nobody knows where it came from or who built it. They just know that it's there. This ancient temple features Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu is a very large god in the pantheon of gods of ancient India. In Hindu iconography, it's usually depicted as having a dark or pale blue skin and 4 arms, one holding a lotus, one holding a mace, one a conch shell, and one a discus. A traditional depiction of Lord Vishnu is him reclining on the coils of Ananta, which I don't have here, as he dreams the universe into reality. So this is the Hindus' god of reality, I guess you'd say. But there's a much bigger mystery than the Hindu gods, which are a huge mystery in and of themselves. You see, if anybody who has ever read the Bhagavad Gita or the Mahabharata or the many different texts of Indian Sanskrit, there's some amazing stories, and they tell some grander things. I'm going to continue this as a video series, and we'll get into some very interesting stuff, but we have a huge mystery to figure out along the way if we can. Nobody's figured it out yet. Well, sort of. We'll get into it. You see, this temple underneath has 8 vaults, 6 of which have been opened, and by royal decree of the Supreme Court of China, nonetheless. One of them, I don't know, there was not any information on. The other 6 have been opened and explored. And upon exploring these, is why it rightfully holds the title as the wealthiest institution or place of worship of any kind in the recorded history of the world. This is the richest institution ever, with an estimated $22 billion worth of gold and jewels and gold-plated objects, diamonds, jewelry, gold utensils, weapons, golden idols, golden elephants, diamond necklaces with an approximate weight of around 500 milligrams and having a length of around 18 feet. Who in the world would be wearing an 18-foot necklace minus maybe an 18-foot man? Well, he'd be taller than that, wouldn't he? That'd be the only thing that makes sense, wouldn't it? That's just conjecture, though. That's a huge necklace. On the screen here, you see pictures of some of the things that were actually found in the treasure rooms under the amazing Indian temple. There were bags full of golden coins from different parts of the world, and ceremonial costumes including a 66-pound solid gold coconut shell studded with rubies and emeralds. However, one of the doors, well, it's completely sealed. And that's not anything too strange. The strange part, now understand we're talking about an extremely ancient Hindu temple. The strange part about this door being sealed, it's not that they can't just, break it down or rip it open. Actually, they can't. Because it's sealed by sound wave technology. It's sealed by an ancient chant that must be uttered. The mysterious door is protected by massive cobras and is painted on it and has no bolts, latches, or any other means of entry. It is said to house unimaginable wealth and can only be entered by a high-level sadist, familiar with the knowledge of chanting a Garuda mantra. It is believed the door, which has no bolts, latches, or any other means of being sealed, is sealed shut by sound waves. By the very sound waves themselves that can only be spoken by an initiated sadist, who knows a very, very specific Garuda mantra. Now, there's a problem with this. If any human attempts are made with man-made technology to open this door, by any means besides the correct way, other than chanting the highly sacred and powerful Garuda mantra by a highly sacred sadist or matrikas, catastrophes are likely to occur throughout the entire world. And this is according to the Vedic astrologers, who also admitted their inability to correctly chant the Garuda chant and allow the door to open. If Garuda mantra is chanted by any powerful sadhu, yogi, or mantrika, the door proceeds to open automatically, and no human effort is needed to open it in any other way. So they get the chant right. They get that perfect om and that perfect sound wave of the exact words of the chant, and the door will literally unlock itself and open right up. There's a lot of mysteries here. Number one, how in the world do you lock a door with sound wave technology? Now, when I say sound wave technology, we've got technology today that's voice activated, yes, but they didn't have voice activation in ancient India. Not at all. This is what would be considered magic, even by today's standards. It's not. It's to do with frequency, but by our understanding, this would be considered nothing less than magic. No one is alive today in the world, as is known of, that knows these secret chants anymore. So the door will either remain sealed forever, or perhaps somebody will be born with a sudden knowledge of exactly how to do it and what it is. Perhaps we can pull that knowledge out of the collective consciousness if we continue to talk about this on all the different channels on YouTube. At least the ones like our partner channel, UniRock. Our partner UniRock does some amazing work. He put a video out about this too. I hope everybody checks his channel out, because his information is just as amazing as what you find here, and just as varied. There's a little bit more evidence though. There was a book written in 1933 called Travancore, a guided book for the visitor. And it was by Emily Gilchrist Hatch. In it we find accounts of people who tried opening this mysterious vault with disastrous results. A group tried entering the vault in 1931. The result? They had to flee for their lives as they discovered a place infested with cobras. Accounts from 1908, also mention similar stories. And just one little piece of oddity. When people try to listen from outside, they hear the sounds of hissing and running water and even whispers. So what could be going on in this cave? Is it the biggest cobra family that ever lived? Or is there something quite more hidden behind this door? Perhaps unimaginable power. Perhaps secret technology. Perhaps ancient space technology. It's all speculation. But we do know there were large statues of gods and large amounts and abundances of riches for some reason, stored in these series of temple treasure rooms. And one of them has been sealed off for some reason. We don't know why. We have no idea why. In the next couple of videos, we'll get more into this door. As long as they don't come and try to throw us away or lock us away and throw away the key. And try to keep this information hidden like they have for so many, many years. We'll go more into the door and all the different things. Wait, what's going on? Wait, I'm not done. I'm not done yet. Wait. Hello, fellow YouTubers, truth seekers, and Mandela affected. I'm Darkwolf, and this is Darkwolf's Den. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight, or today, or to this morning, or this evening, or whatever it may be, wherever you are, whenever you are listening. Anyway, it seems they've left the door open, so while the vault's open, we can talk. So I found this really, really neat news article the other day, guys. Breaking news. Check this out. So for years, conspiracy theorists have told us that the age of mankind is completely wrong. That they've got the number system all off. That we're much, much older than what we're being told. Well, it turns out that could be very, very true. The Jebel Erud site in Morocco, there were some fossils discovered. And these are the oldest known remains of any Homo sapien. This literally rewrites mankind's origins and suggests that our species evolved in multiple locations across the African continent. We did not evolve from a single cradle of mankind somewhere in East Africa, said Philip Gunz, a paleontologist at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig, Germany, and co-authored 2 new studies of the fossils published in the journal Nature. We evolved on the African continent. Until now, the only oldest known fossils of our species dated back just some 195,000 years ago. The Moroccan fossils, by contrast, are roughly 300,000 years older. 300,000 years old. So from 195,000 years to 300,000 years. So that's almost double what we've been being told for a long, long time. Remarkably, they indicate that earlier Homo sapiens had faces much like our own, although their brain differed in fundamental ways. Today, the closest living relatives to Homo sapiens are chimpanzees and bonobos. With them we share a common ancestor that lived over 6 million years ago. After the split from this ancestor, our ancient forebears evolved into many different species known as hominins. For millions of years, hominids remained very ape-like. They were short, had small brains, and could fashion only crude stone tools. Until now, the oldest fossils of clearly blonde Homo sapiens were discovered in Ethiopia in 2003. Researchers at a site called Herto discovered a skull estimated to be between 160,000 and 154,000 years old. So up to 160,000 years old was the oldest they could place us. And now it's up to 300,000 years old. A pair of partial skulls from another site, Omokabish, dated from around 195,000 years of age, at the time making these the oldest fossils of our species. That was in '03. That was 14 years ago. So in 14 years we haven't found any more information until now. Findings such as these suggest that our species evolved in a small region, perhaps Ethiopia or nearby Africa. After Homo sapiens arose, researchers believe the species spread out across the continent. This here is a picture of the actual jaw piece from this find that we are discussing. It's a little different than the normal jaw. It doesn't have a bottom jawbone on this one, but the normal jaw that you would normally see. Paleontologists are aware of mysterious hominid fossils discovered in other parts of Africa that did not seem to fit the narrative also. Because in 1961, miners in Morocco dug up a few pieces of a skull at a site called Jebel El-Roud. Later, diggers revealed a few more bones along with flint blades. Using crude techniques, researchers estimated the remains to be 40,000 years old. In the 80s, however, a paleontologist named Jean-Jacques Hublin took a closer look at one jawbone. The teeth bore some resemblance to those living creatures, those living humans, on a desert hillside at Jebel El-Roud. They found a wealth, to those of living humans. The teeth bear similar resemblance to those of living humans, but the shape seems strangely primitive. It does not make sense, Dr. Hublin said. Since 2004, him and his colleagues have been working through layers of rocks on a desert hillside at Jebel El-Roud. They have found a wealth of fossils, including skull bones, and from 5,000 who all died at the exact same time. Resetting on the clock on man's debut would be an achievement enough, but new research is also notable for the discovery of several early humans rather than just one, as so often happens. The face is that of somebody you could come across in Metro, he said. Dr. Hublin said. The flattened faces of early Homo sapiens may have been something to do with the advent of speech, speculated one scientist or paleontologist, Christopher Stringer. We really are at early stages of trying to develop these things and explain them. We have no other place like it, so it's a fabulous finding. Dr. Gunz at the Max Planck Institute said that the human brain may have become rounder at a later phase of evolution, and two regions in the back of the brain appear to have become enlarged over thousands of years in comparison to the site at Jebel El-Roud and the full skull actually found. Oh, wow. I think that we see reflective adaptive changes in the way the brain functions, he said. Still, he added, no one knows how a rounder brain changed how we think. So this is a report put out from many different news agencies have picked it up and carried it. I hope everyone goes and takes a look at this. In short, the conspiracy theorists have been right all these years. The numbers that scientists give us for the age of mankind is completely wrong. And now we're finding more and more evidence in archaeological sites and ancient sites. Ancient structures we're digging up more and more every day. And now we've actually found bones to prove that humankind is much, much older than was ever suspected. So I hope you guys take this information, run with it, and oh no, they're closing the vault again. Guys! Oh, hello, fellow YouTubers, truth seekers, and Mandela affected. I'm Dark Wolf, and this is Darkwolf's Den. I'm so glad you guys are here tonight. Maybe things won't get too crazy. You can see it gets kind of wild around here on a full moon, so you never know what can happen. Watch out for those two guys above me. They're kind of, mad, kind of out there. Be careful. But besides those, it's pretty safe here. We've got a guard dog or a guard wolf here checking out, make sure everything's okay, and you've got me. So since you guys are here, I really want to share with you something I've been looking into. So, you guys remember the other day we were talking about this door, this unsealable door of India, one that can only be opened with sound and frequencies at a certain rhythm, a certain rate, in the right way, done by the right person, with the right officiation, if you will. Well, what really caught my interest about this door was the fact that it had these great big snakes on it. These two giant cobras. At least that's what they're supposed to be. And I kept wondering, why in the world do we see this in the ancient cultures? We always see the cobras, or the snakes, I mean, not just the cobras. But all across the ancient world we see snakes. What does it mean? Well, we usually attribute a lot of different things to snakes. Here in the West, we consider them evil. And the Christians also consider a snake a symbol of evil or the devil. But in most other religions and even ancient cultures, like I mentioned, they were not an evil creature but a divinity representing eternity as well as materiality, life as well as death, and time as well as timelessness. The ancient Egyptians worshipped snakes, especially the cobra. The cobra is not only associated with the sun god Ra, but also many other deities. Serpents could also be evil and harmful, such as the case of Apep and Set. They were also referenced in the Book of the Dead, in which spell 39 was made to help repel an evil snake in the underworld. Get back, crawl away, get away from me, you snake. Go, be drowned in the lake of the abyss, the place where your father commanded that the slaying of you should be carried out. This is again from spell 39 in the Book of the Dead. Wajet was the patron goddess of Upper Egypt, and was represented as a cobra also, with spread hood, or a cobra-headed woman. She later became one of the protective emblems on the pharaoh's crown. Once Upper and Lower Egypt were united, she was said to spit fire at the pharaoh's enemies. As referred to as one of the eyes of Ra, she was often associated with the lioness goddess also. The ancient Mayan deity Kukulkan and the Aztec Quetzalcoatl, both meaning feathered serpent, figured prominently in their respective cultures. Kukulkan was an official state deity of Itza in the North Yucatan. In many Mesoamerican cultures, the serpent was regarded as a portal between two worlds. The worship of Quetzalcoatl, whose mask I have here on the screen, dates back to as early as the 1st century BC at Teotihuacan. In the post-classic period, the cult was centered at Cholula. Quetzalcoatl was associated with the wind, the dawn, the planet of Venus, the morning star, which is the planet of Venus, and was a tutelary patron of arts, crafts, merchants, and priesthood. In some cultures, snakes were fertility symbols. For example, the Hopi of North America performed an annual snake dance to celebrate the union of a snake youth, sky spirit, and snake girl, in underworld spirit, and to renew the fertility of nature. During the dance, live snakes were handled, and I love this part. At the end of the dance, the snakes were released into the fields to guarantee good crops. In Cambodia, or Asia, serpents or nagas play an important role in Cambodian mythology. A well-known story explains the emergence of the Khmer people from the union of Indian and indigenous elements, the latter being represented as Nagas. According to the story, an Indian Brahmana named Kandinya, I am so murdering this name, came to Cambodia, which at that time was under the dominion of the Naga king, or Snake King. The Naga princess Soma sailed forth to fight against the invader but was defeated. Presented with the option of marrying the victorious Kandinya, Soma readily agreed to do so, and together they ruled the land. The Khmer people are said to be their descendants. In ancient China, 8 dragon kings who assembled at the gathering where Shakyamuni preached the Lotus Sutra as described in the sutra. Kamarajiva's translation of the Lotus Sutra referred to them by their Sanskrit names: Nanda, Upananda, Sagara, Vasuki, Takshaka, Anavatapta, Manasvin, and Utpalaka. According to the introduction, first chapter of the Lotus Sutra, each attends a gathering accompanied by several thousands of followers. In Korea mythology, Eosbin, the wealth goddess, appears as an eared black snake. Chilasognin and her 7 daughters are all snakes, and as you see here, this is Chilasognin. Of course, I had to get the harder one pronounced, didn't I? These goddesses are deities of orchards, courts, and protect the home. According to Juju Pangtorap, the people fear snakes. They worship it as a god. When they see a snake, they call it Great God, and do not kill or chase it away. The reason for snakes symbolizing worth was because they ate rats and other pests, at least according to common ideology. Though some of us believe it could have been much, much more to it. I'll leave you to make your own mind up on that. In Rome, serpents were worshipped as long as much of ancient Europe. The Roman genius Loki took form of a serpent. But in Italy, as we have this picture here, the Parisian goddess Agnetia, whose name derives from the word serpent, was associated with witches, snakes, and snake charmers. Agnetia is believed to have also been a goddess of healing. Her worship was centered on the central Apennine region. A snake was kept and fed with milk during rites dedicated to Patrempus, a Prussian god, which is one we have right here. I'm not sure which one, or it could be all 3. I'm not entirely sure. On the Iberian Peninsula, there is evidence that before the introduction of Christianity, and perhaps more strongly before Roman invasions, serpent worship was a standout feature of local religions. To this day, numerous traces in European popular belief, especially in Germany, of respect for the snake, possibly a survival of ancestor worship. The house snake cares for the cows and children, and its appearance is an omen of death. And the lives of a pair of house snakes are often held to be bound with that of the master and the mistress of the house. Tradition states that one of the Gnostic sects known as the Ophites caused the tame serpent to coil around the sacramental bread and worshipped as a representative of the Savior. In Lanuvum, a big snake was venerated as a god as they offered human sacrifice to it. In Australia, various Aboriginal mythologies tell of a huge python like you see here, known by a variety of names but universally referred to as the rainbow serpent, that was said to have created the landscape, embodied the spirit of the fresh water, and punished lawbreakers. The Aborigines in southwest Australia called the serpent the Wagil, while the Maramunga of the east coast worshipped the mythical Wallunuka. Now, ancient India both feared and revered the snake. The tradition still continues. Hindus worship snakes in temples as well as their natural habitat, offering them milk, incense, and even prayer. In India, snakes like the cobra, or the naga to the Hindi, are known to be amongst the most venomous in the world and are the most sacred. They are part of many sacred rites. The Hindus are convinced that the god of the destruction and regeneration, Shiva, is embodied in a cobra. Hindu scriptures mention Nagas, which are a class of demigods, or semi-divine beings, who lived in the subterranean world known as Patala. They protect the treasures hidden in the earth, and have the ability to assume human form. By nature they are good. But they can become destructive and vengeful if disrespected and not treated well. Hindus believe that certain types of curses and spells arising from aggrieved snake deities, can result in death, sickness, misfortune, loss of children, or even childlessness, for which one has to perform purifying rituals. The Nagas are half human but with a serpent's tail, and dwell in a beautiful underground city of Bhagavita and guard great treasures, which really reminds me once again of the vaults of the Padmanabhashami temple and the many treasures there, and the fact that we have that snake door. I just keep thinking about that. The Indian god Vishnu is located on top of a 1,000-head serpent, which represents eternity. Hindus believe in immortality of the snake and its ability to molt and renew its skin. They sometimes see cobras reincarnation of deserving people. Although snakes are worshipped throughout the year, the day of Naga Panchami festival is especially dedicated to the worship of the cobra. People through religious rites are seeking the protection of the cobra. In this picture here are pictures from that very festival, and the snake dancing and the cobras coming out of the basket. This is from the Nag Panchami festival, or snake festival in India. So, in closing, although snakes are worshipped throughout the year, the day of Nag Panchami festival and many, many others like it show that the ancient cultures, and even ones today, have revered the snakes as holy and even sacred creatures, and very divine. But today in Western culture we perceive the snake as bad. When we're trying to study and understand an ancient mystery, we must keep in mind the way that they viewed the certain symbols and not our own takes on them. Well, it appears they're closing the door again, guys. I ain't got long. See you next time. Bye! Oh, hello, fellow YouTubers, truth seekers, and Mandela affected. I'm Darkwolf, and this is Darkwolf's Den. I'm so glad everybody decided to stop by the den today. I really appreciate all of you taking the time to watch this. It really, really means a lot. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope maybe you learn something out of it. You kind of caught me trying to learn something. I was catching up on some mysteries. You know, here at the den, we love the mysteries. One of them that's really intrigued me from the very beginning is a place where, a very anomalous place on the earth where odd things happen. What kind of odd things? Well, things disappear. Not just your keys. No, much worse than that. Whole ships and planes and boats and people. Yes, people, just by the dozens and the hundreds disappear. What am I talking about? Well, if you haven't figured it out by now, we're talking about the Bermuda Triangle. This is a place between Puerto Rico, Bermuda, and Miami in Florida. And it's a swath of land, or ocean, I should say, that it's very, very weird. We have all kind of anomalies come out of it, magnetic anomalies, compass anomalies, ships disappearing, people disappearing, and we'll get into a couple of those as we go along. For instance, the earliest case we have is in 1492. Christopher Columbus reported strange lights and reported also strange compass readings, which, as I mentioned, we have a lot here in the triangle. On December 4th, 1872, the Mary Celeste, also known as the Ghost Ship, was found without a single soul on board while she was still sailing. She was located off the coast of Portugal, heading toward the Straits of Gibraltar. There was no reason for this, for the weather was fine, and her crew was very, very experienced and had no reason to abandon ship. And as if that wasn't enough, even the U.S. Navy believes in the power of the triangle. You see, in 1918, the U.S. Navy had its biggest loss of personnel in a non-combat incident. On March 4th, the USS Cyclops set sail and was scheduled to reach Baltimore on March 13th. However, it would never be seen or heard from again. When it didn't reach the port, they sent out a massive rescue effort, which was never successful in locating any remains of the USS Cyclops. Although a 1,500-page report was released by the Navy, which was full of speculation, however, none of the theories matched any of the evidence presented at the time. Next, we have the case of the Ellen Austin. And on its voyage in 1881, it came across another ship that was sailing without a single soul on board, a ghost ship, if you will. The Ellen Austin transferred some of its crew onto the other ship and attempted to sail with it to New York. The other ship suddenly disappeared. Later it reappeared, but again without a person on board, then disappeared again without a trace. As if that isn't odd enough, but wait, there's more. 1921, the Carroll A. Deering. This was a 5-masted commercial schooner, as you see here, built to carry cargo. On January 31st, 1921, while returning home to Maine from Rio de Janeiro of Brazil, it was found wrecked at Diamond Shoals, located off Cape Hatteras in North Carolina. While the ship was quite intact, all crew members vanished and were never heard from again. Then, if that wasn't awful enough, this one's kind of funny. 1941, the USS Proteus and the USS Nereus. These were the sister ships of the USS Cyclops that had vanished in the Bermuda Triangle. They also vanished in the Bermuda Triangle. Wow. All right. Moving along. Next we have Flight 19. This is a very, very famous case. These were training bombers of the U.S. Navy. This is twice the Navy's lost things in the Triangle. You think they would quit going there, huh? They went missing on December 5th, 1945 while flying over the Atlantic. They were scheduled to go due east from Florida Naval Base for 120 miles, then north for 73, and then get back over a final 120-mile route that would return them to the naval base. Strangely, they never came back. And what's even crazier is that, it's been speculated that these guys went off course, and I will put my own 2 cents in here. There's been a lot of evidence to suggest these guys just went the wrong way and got confused by the islands they were looking at, which is possible. Over a lot of ocean and stuff, it's really easy to get lost and disoriented. However, even if you discount this fact, check this out, guys. The plane sent to catch them, the Martin Mariner, also disappeared without a trace, without ever finding Flight 19 or coming back also. So even if you discount Flight 19, the plane sent to find them in the triangle also vanished. Not good. Then we have next the 1948 Tudor Star Tiger. This is a picture of a Tudor Mark IV aircraft that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. This isn't the one that disappeared, I don't think. If it did, it got a picture beforehand. At least that didn't disappear, eh? Alright, anyway. Um, the Mark IV disappeared shortly before it was to land in the Bermuda airport in January 1948. So they had contact with the tower and everything and just vanished. Gone without a trace. And yet in 1948 also, Flight DC-3 disappears. The Flight Douglas DC-3 NC16002 disappeared in Bermuda Triangle when it was only 50 miles south of Florida and about to land in Miami on December 28th, 1948. So this thing was, again, contacting the tower, was about to land, and poof, gone. Never to be heard from again. But wait, there's more. In 1954, Flight 441, a Super Constellation naval airliner, disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle on October 30th. And then, in 1963, the Marine Sulphur Queen, the 524-foot carrier of molten sulfur, started sail in Beaumont, Texas with 39 crew. It was reported last in Florida Straits on February 4th. But it's not just ships that get lost in here. Oh no. The Sting 27, a U.S. Air Force Phantom jet as we see pictured here, vanished completely without a trace. Official reports indicated it may have suffered an impact, but details were never actually revealed. So there was no proof it actually impacted anything, it just disappeared. Then we have the Sylvia. The Sylvia L. Osa, a 590-foot ore carrier with a crew of 37, disappeared again just 140 miles off the coast of Bermuda. Next we have the pilot of the Grumman Cougar jet that made a routine request to increase altitude. While ascending, the aircraft gradually faded from radar and vanished. For years, science has tried to no avail to answer the question as to what's going on in the Bermuda Triangle, and haven't had much luck at all. And I gave up the research on this years ago because there was never any new information that came out. However, upon somebody requesting me to look into it, a coworker of mine, I did, and I was amazed at what I found next. You see, in 2014, there was some satellite imagery done over the Bermuda Triangle. And these images right here are exactly what they found. They found hexagon honeycomb style shapes in the clouds. Now, for those who don't know, this is not a natural formation. Nature does not do straight lines in right angles, or 60-degree angles as the case may be here. So, what in the world is going on with hexagons in the clouds? And I asked myself, have I heard of this before? And I did some research, and it dawned on me I have. Somewhere else in our solar system, there's a hexagon-shaped cloud on the pole of a planet. It's Neptune. On the south pole of Neptune, there's a great big hexagon-shaped cloud. Science says that this is a big storm. I beg to differ, but I'm not a scientist, am I? And I don't know what data they're going on. I'm assuming they're doing the same thing we're doing and just making presumptions. Based on what data, I don't know. But I do find it odd that we've got a hexagon-shaped cloud on the Bermuda Triangle. And then we've got one on Neptune. And I know some of you are going, wait, that's not the planet I expected. No, here's the planet you expected. This is Saturn. For all those who were waiting on it, here is Saturn. At the North Pole of Saturn, there's yet again a perfect hexagonal cloud formation. As you see, the top is taken from Cassini. This is an animated image of the cloud formation. Science says the jet stream going around this planet is causing this, interesting formation. However, I negate to believe this because, again, nature doesn't do straight lines and it doesn't do perfect geometric shapes like the hexagon. This is just not something you find in nature, not naturally. So we have the Bermuda Triangle, we have Neptune, and we have Saturn, all showing these hexagons at the top of the poles. And it really makes you wonder why. Well, the Bermuda Triangle isn't at a pole, but could that explain the magnetic anomalies? Could that explain why there's odd compass reading? Could it be a magnetic anomaly in the Bermuda Triangle? Could something underneath the water be having such a magnetic pole pull that it creates an anomalous behavior and makes radar and odd things act strange? Could it be doing even more than that? There are some conspiracy theorists that say that it's ripping holes in reality right there in that spot, that that's a dimensional tear, a portal, if you will. Maybe people go in the portal accidentally and never come back. Maybe they never know they left. We don't know. This is all speculation. But I would like to know what you guys think of this, because this new bit of evidence really confuses me even more. What could the hexagons mean? And why do we find them not only in the triangle, but on other planets in our solar system and always at the poles of the planets? Well, you guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been something to think about. Let me know in the comments what you think. I hope they don't shut us out too soon. Oh no, they are. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again. Bye, everybody.